Welcome everyone to a Solstice Jungle Educational. In this video, we are going to explain Solstice in detail, showing jungle rotations as well as tips and tricks for the hero to optimize your gameplay. Now, before we get started, I would greatly appreciate if you like the content to smash that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. Thank you so much, and let's get started with the video. So we're going to start here by explaining Solstice's abilities in detail. So our first ability here is called Blinding Dash. Now these abilities, they have different names based on daytime and nighttime, but for the sake of explaining here, we will just go with their basic names here. So our Blinding Dash here has a mana cost of 120 mana. Daytime mode, we have target an enemy to charge at it, granting 350 movement speed, 2, 4, 6, 8 armor, and 1, 2, 3, 4 magic armor. Upon reaching the target, deals 60, 120, 180, 240 magic damage and applies a 1.5-second stun. Now at nighttime, this ability, you target an enemy to charge at it, granting 350 movement speed, invisibility, and 150, 200, 250, 300 attack speed. Upon reaching the target, deals 50, 100, 150, 200 magic damage, and applies a 35% movement speed slow for 3 seconds. And this spell has a cast range of 1200 at the max level, and a cooldown of 14 seconds. Our second ability here is called Shining Rays. So during the day, it grants 700 clear vision and deals 15, 30, 45, 60 magic damage per second to enemies within range for 8 seconds. At nighttime, we can target an area to grant vision of enemies for 8 seconds, grants you a bonus 15, 30, 45, 60 attack damage and movement speed for 8 seconds, has a radius of 700 and a cooldown of 20 seconds. Our third ability here is called Graceful Strikes. The daytime mode, we passively add to your third attack 55, 75, 100, 125 physical damage cleave and 10, 15, 20, 25% lifesteal. Bonus damage deals 120% more to creeps. At nighttime, we passively add to your third attack 80, 115, 150, 185 physical damage, and 10, 15, 20, 25% lifesteal. Now, we have a Staff of the Master effect here for Solstice, which only affects our third ability here, but I will explain this. Staff of the Master reduces the number of attacks required to 2, so down from 3 to 2, and allows you to switch between day and night mode at will. So the big effect here of the staff is allowing us to swap between day and night mode at our choosing for all of our 4 abilities. Our ultimate here, Pure Light, mana cost of 250, activate to begin channeling for up to 3 seconds, increasing damage and distance. Activate again to release early, deals up to 400, 600, 800 magic damage in a cone up to 1300 units away. So daytime applies a 50% tapering slow for 6 seconds, and at nighttime it applies a 1.5-second fear. This has a range of 1400 and a cooldown of 80 seconds. So those are Solstice's abilities. I will now go into the strengths and weaknesses of Solstice. And since we have 2 different modes here, I'm going to go over the strengths based on which form you're going to be in, which time of the game. So in daytime, we'll talk about the strengths here at daytime. So Solstice with his cleave, his graceful strikes, you have the ability to farm stacked camps. So he is a very strong stack clearing jungle farmer at daytime. Our Q spell here, Blinding Dash, we get a stun for setting up kills and doing ganks during daytime. Our Shining Rays, our W spell here, is great for disabling portal keys based on that AoE spell there, that dot, dealing magic damage per second. Um, we get a 6-second 50% tapering slow on our ultimate, which is very strong against non-escape style enemies, slowing them down so that we can chase them for kills. And also our Graceful Strikes we get a strong AoE lifesteal attack, which the more units we splash, the more we will lifesteal with our Graceful Strike. So very powerful lifesteal third attacks. So the strengths here at nighttime, I will go over nighttime next. We become an agile ganker with our Q spell, our blinding dash. At night, we become invisible while charging and we get a slow on our dash, so very strong. We're setting up kills. Our W spell Shining Rays at nighttime, we get 6 seconds of area of effect reveal through Fog of War. So without having vision through wards of sight or other means of vision, we can use our second spell here to grant us vision through fog to spot out enemies hiding. Also, on top of that, our second ability gives us bonus attack speed, or excuse me, attack damage and movement speed. So buffing up our damage for killing. On our Graceful Strikes, we get stronger single target lifesteal and damage as opposed to our day version there. We get much stronger single target attacks. And then our ultimate, very strong. We get an AoE Fear, which is great for locking down the target we're trying to kill and prevents them from escaping. So some general strengths here, non-related to day and night mode of Solstice. He is great at initiating versus farming enemies. Enemies farming in the lane, farming those lane creeps, we can set up in trees or from Fog of War with our ultimate and channel it from Fog, and we can initiate on those enemies farming. We are also similar effect here. We are great at counter initiation. So our opponent initiates on our team. We are sitting in the back lines where they cannot see us. We channel up a full duration ultimate and we do devastating amounts of damage in team fights. So Solstice is a great counter initiation style hero. And also versus push lineups, so similar to opponents farming on lanes, they are pushing our towers head on, giving up the positioning advantage to us. As the Solstice, we are sitting behind those towers to defend, and we get to channel up our ultimate there, dealing again massive amounts of damage. So Solstice is great against push lineups with his ultimate. Now I will talk about some weaknesses of the hero. Honestly, there are not too many weaknesses to Solstice, which makes him a great hero overall. Heroes with mini stuns and cancels to his dash ability, it is a charge. So similar to Legionnaire, if you are able to stun him in that charge before he reaches his target, it will cancel that charge, so he will not get that damage off. So heroes like the Chipper, with lots of mini stuns, similar a style hero would be like a Rhapsody here. So a Rhapsody and a Chipper with lots of mini stuns, good at canceling that Solstice primary ability there. Another weakness of Solstice would be that in order to get the maximum potential out of his ultimate, you need to channel it. It has a delay, so you want to channel that up to 3 seconds. So oftentimes you will require your teammates to either set you up for that ultimate or set up some kind of a bait to collapse the enemy team. So those are some weaknesses of the hero. They are not too significant, but worth pointing out. Solstice having many, many strengths. So now that we have discussed his abilities and some of his strengths and weaknesses, I think it's safe to say we can get into a practice mode game and show you guys some of the jungle rotations here. So in my other guides, I have only shown you guys one jungle rotation, but for Solstice, we actually have different rotations depending on which jungle we're in. So we're going to do a rotation for both the Legion and the Hellbourne. We'll start off here with the Hellbourne's, or excuse me, the Legion's rotation. And normally I always talk about key bindings with the hero. We don't have minions with Solstice, so we're just going to go ahead and bind our hero to control 1. We are not going to use any kind of multi-unit control here with the Solstice. So what we're going to do here, we're going to start with a hatchet and a buckler. We're going to save 200 gold. As always, in case our opponent blocks our camp, so we have money for Wards of Revelation. So very important in case they come to block our camps. We're going to, as always, walk around the jungle, see if we get a word of sight from our support, see if they come invade our jungle. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to fast forward here to when the creeps spawn. So we're going to forward our clock here. The creeps are about to spawn here at the 30 seconds. And what we're going to do here is we're going to send out a second buckler. And I'm going to explain to you guys when we get to this portion coming up very soon why we pick up the second buckler. But we do not actually need any regen to start off here in our initial rotation. So we go ahead, we start here with the easy camp. We're going to attack the creeps evenly with our cleave, cleaving them down. So it does not matter which camp we get here on the easy camp, we will always clear it in time, and we will immediately move over to stack the hard with our hatchet, and then the medium camp with our body. So we will throw that at 53, move into the camp and aggro, and we will pull it up here. Now, a nifty trick we can do here is we can, as this camp is on its way back, so at 58 seconds, we can turn around, and we can attack the, in this case, the Pustula camp, and we can get some hits towards our crit for our easy camp. So here I'm going to turn, I'm going to attack, and you can honestly attack twice. So a lot of the times here I did make a little bit of a mistake, but not a very big one. You can attack twice here to get your strikes down to 1. So once the easy camp respawns, we will immediately start with a splash. Not the biggest deal, we will just have 1 extra hit here. So we will cleave this camp down just like we did the last camp. We have already bought a Runes of the Blight, and as soon as we finish this camp, we will buy a health potion. So we will immediately send out a Runes of the Blight and a health potion as we start our medium camp. Once we reach here, we will immediately use our Illuminate, so we get Illuminate level 2. And we are going to be using our Illuminate very often doing this jungle rotation. So almost every time the spell is up, we will be using it. I will continue to go over that as we get through the rotation. So we will start here by making sure that our cleave hits the entire camp. We're going to cut the trees here. We always want to attack within the camp. So every time we have our cleave attack, we try to hit it on as many units as possible. And Solstice is great at farming stacked camps because the more units you hit with your splash, the more you will lifesteal. So triple camps are actually easier than farming single camps in terms of how much lifesteal you will get. So we go ahead, we cleave this camp down. We have used 1 blight so far. Continue to splash. We will get level 2 of the solar slash here. So our E-spell at level 3. And we will continue to eat blights here. Now this is the biggest difference here coming up between the Legion's jungle and the Hellbourne's jungle, and this is why we are going to pick up 2 bucklers. I'm going to show you this very nifty trick that we have discovered here for our Solstice rotation. So at 51 seconds, we will throw our hatchet. This is very important. You have to do this exactly like this. Throw our hatchet at 51, so it impacts the camp at 52. Right there, and we are going to immediately move over to this other hard camp. Once the clock hits 56, we will use our Illuminate. We will activate this camp here. And another trick here, if this has a Skeleton King in the camp, we must walk to the left after triggering the stack here with our Shining Rays. So you will see me here walk to the left. This makes the Skeleton King move outside the camp, and as you can see, we have stacked both the hard camps here by triggering this one at 51 with the hatchet and this one with our Shining Rays. So this is the most optimal Solstice rotation that gives us the highest level by nighttime. So we will continue here. Every 2 minutes we will camp the rune, but for the sake of this education, we will not actually be taking the runes as they would impact how our performance would be in the jungle. So this could spawn anything, and we would most likely take it if our mid does not have his bottle yet. So I'm going to walk to the rune, but not take it at every 2 minute mark. So what we are going to do here is we are going to farm a triple stacked hard camp at level 3 with double bucklers and a health potion. You can also do this without a health potion. So if this medium camp spawned Wild Hunter and Wolf Commander, that is the hardest medium double stack to do at the beginning of the game. You would need to use your health potion, so we would take too much damage there. But for this rotation, I got very lucky. I did not get Wild Hunter and Wolf Commander, so we're actually able to use our health potion here on the camp. But this camp is still, you are still able to take this without a health potion. It will just be slightly easier. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna eat that tree. So I'll back it up a little bit here. So we're coming up the river from camping the rune. We will eat a tree immediately. We need to regain our health. We are going to start here by attacking, and we will always be moving while taking this triple stack. Very important to try to kite the melees. As soon as our illuminate comes up, we will be using it immediately. So we hit, we move, we hit the Skeleton King, we hit, we move, we use our health potion, we crit, we use our W immediately. We have our tree coming off cooldown in 2 seconds. We're always hit and moving, and we will eat another tree. We will splash, we will hit level 4 here, and we have so much HP because we had the health potion that we do not need to use our blinding rush, our Q spell. If we were very low on life and close to dying, it is perfectly fine to use your stun here to complete this camp, but due to having this much HP, we will not need to use our Q spell here. We will immediately start moving over to the left side of the jungle, and we send ourselves marchers. So you might say to me, Wig, when do I buy marchers and when do I buy either gloves of the swift for our steam boots or punch dagger for our ghost marchers? And what I have discovered, now I have done this rotation in conjunction with my good friend Marloni. Him and myself, we have come up with this rotation. This rotation yields you the highest amount of XP once you get to 6 minutes and you get to the first nighttime. So I want to give him a lot of credit here, and you're gonna find a link below the video to his YouTube. Very much appreciated if you go ahead to his channel and give him a subscribe. Very good player himself. So him and I have come up with this rotation. So with the marchers picked up before our item towards either our steam boots or our ghost marchers, we are able to kite the camp more easily with that extra movement speed, as well as getting ourselves those stacks. So the marchers are actually going to be a little bit more beneficial here than picking up either the gloves of the swift or the punch dagger first. So we will immediately send our marchers after completing this triple stack hard camp. It is very important to get those marchers as quickly as possible. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to stack all 3 of these camps at the same time, and this is very important because this is going to give us the most amount of stacks possible. We're going to have a triple hard camp again, a double stacked easy and medium camp, as we are almost reaching level 5 here. So we are 4 2/3 here, under 3 minutes, but we're going to have many stacks to work with coming up after this rotation. So we will go ahead here, we will wait, we will stack this at 53, we throw our hatchet, our illuminate is coming up, we will trigger the easy camp and we will move over to the medium camp, and then we will move up, and this will trigger all 3 neutrals to stack. So once again, an amazing rotation. We have done a triple stacked hard camp at level 3, and now we have an entire stacked jungle at 3 minutes. We have the marchers picked up with double buckler, so we can tank these camps very easily. Once we get to level 5 and we get close to our upgraded boots, which we will be going for ghost marchers in this educational, then we can sell the buckler, so I will get to that coming up shortly. But we will go ahead, we will walk all the way around here to let the camp reset, and we will start working on a double stacked easy camp. So this is very straightforward. You don't even have to move too much to kite this. Just make sure your cleave hits everything. So if you need to move slightly to get your cleave to hit, then by all means do so. Here we will hit level 5, and we will now have 3 points in our solar slash, and now this is when jungling starts to become really easy once we are level 5. So more or less the hard part is over, and the rest is going to be a lot easier. We're gonna go ahead here and use our illuminate. We get the camp to aggro, we start hit moving as much as possible, and we always hit the big creeps as much as we can to get our splashes. The more creeps we have in the camps, the more we will lifesteal. So when we have Catmans, this is when we lifesteal the least. So any other spawn but Catman, we will get the most amount of lifesteal from our triple hard camps. Then we go ahead there, we clean up this camp, and we're getting very close to stacking our next 2 camps. Gonna go ahead and clean this up. We hit level 6 before 4 minutes, so 340, we'll say 348 or so. We were level 6. We throw the hatchet there, we stack this one, and we will have a triple medium and a double hard, and we once again will go to camp the rune. So this would not be a regen, of course, this would be something else. Go ahead, see if our mid wants the rune. If not, we take it. We go back to jungling. We have 2 more minutes before nighttime to maximize our farm here. So we're going to go ahead and start on the medium because it is tripled. We get the most amount of lifesteal from this camp. We have just sent ourselves our first punch dagger. So we have our courier going back here. You can see on the mini map. We just got our punch dagger delivered. We're going to clean this camp up, and this is going to give us enough gold. We're going to sell the iron buckler here as we get close to finishing this camp. We no longer need the second buckler, and we will buy our next punch dagger. So we will have our ghost marchers more or less at 4.5 minutes. Then we go ahead and we start on this hard camp here, double stack. We continue to kite it. We always hit the big creeps here. We get the splashes to hit everything. As you can see, lots of lifesteal. So always going to keep ourselves more or less at full HP. So we fast forward a little bit here till we get in position. So we immediately move. We throw our hatchet here at the easy camp and we run down, stack the hard camp here. We will work on the hard camp first, and we're just going to clean up all 4 camps here before the 6-minute mark, and that will be the end of our rotation. So we continue to just do the techniques we've been doing so far. We hit and move, we hit and move. We always hit the big creeps. I should most likely be hitting the soldier here. So that was a tiny mistake that I made, but only cost me about a second or so, or 2 maybe extra. We're almost level 8 here at 5.5 minutes. We're going to cleave this camp down, make sure our splash hits as many targets as possible. I wasn't hitting the antling here, so I'm going to move over, make sure my splash hits. We're level 8, around 5.5 minutes. We started sending ourselves pieces to Chalice, and we will now have the full Chalice here at 540. We send a Veil Drop. We could also wait on the courier to send a TP as well. We clean up this camp here, and right before nighttime is about to hit, we're going to finish cleaning up this hard camp here, and there we go. So it is just about to be nighttime. We have cleaned all 4 camps. Again, I always talk about in my jungle educationals, we never touch the easy or the medium camp. You never ever need to go there. Those 2 camps are always going to be used for our short lane to utilize pulling. We are 8 2/3 here by our first nighttime, so the clock will strike 6 minutes here. We have now transitioned our spells. They are all different names. We have our Ghost Marchers, our Chalice, a Veil Drop. We would have most likely sent out a TP as well, and now you will be looking to either gank the mid lane with our Veil Drop or our long lane and try to kill the enemy carry. So this is when you hit a huge power spike. You are level 8, almost level 9 by 6 minutes. You are without a doubt the highest level on the map, and everyone else in the game is going to be relatively low, either level 6 or level 5, possibly even lower. So this is the most optimal Legion jungle rotation. Again, big credits to Marlon for helping me out with this rotation. He is by far a better Solstice player than I am, so I got to give him a lot of credit there. So that will be our Legion rotation. We will now show you guys the Hellbourne rotation. So the Hellbourne rotation is slightly different from the Legion. We cannot get as much XP because we will miss, I believe, 1 hard camp stack. We are just not able to do the same amount of stacks, but we will get, I believe, 8.5 on Hellbourne, so it is almost the same amount of XP. Very, very good jungle rotation once again. So here you can see I've already started with the 2 shields and the hatchet. Of course, we would save ourselves gold. We would not send the second buckler out. We would make sure that our camps aren't blocked. We would save gold for Words of Revelation as always. I fast forwarded the clock here, so the creeps are about to spawn, but in a real game, we would be sending out our second buckler as the camp is about to spawn here. So we will start our Hellbourne rotation now. Very easy. We hit every creep evenly. We want to kill this camp. We want to kill all the creeps at the same time. So we go ahead here, we kill this first easy camp, we buy a Runes of the Blight while we are moving over to stack our hard and medium camps. So we will stand here at 53, we will throw the hatchet on the hard camp and we will walk into the medium, aggro it. And here, hopefully I do a good job of this. You're at 58 seconds on the clock, we're going to turn around and we're going to hit this Pustula camp twice. So 58 hits the clock, 1, 2, and now we have our solar slash ready to go. This is what I wanted to do on the Legion side, but I didn't get that extra hit in, so we immediately start with our splash, and we're going to be killing this camp a little bit quicker. As soon as we finish this camp, we will buy a health potion, and we will send the Runes of the Blight and the health potion to ourselves, so there we go. And we will use our blinding rays once we reach here. We aggro the camp. We're going to make sure that our third hit, the splash, hits more or less every creep. We keep moving to kite the melees as much as possible. Going to eat a tree, get those creeps all on top of each other. And I believe we're going to need to use our health potion here. We're getting very low on life. We will get our Solar Slash level 3 once again. Um, there we go. We use the health pot. So this is different from the other rotation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start to weaken this double stacked hard camp, but we are going to triple this. Very important. We are going to be doing once again a triple hard camp at 2 minutes. So again, we have the double buckler for that purpose. We're going to weaken this camp as much as we can. We're going to let the camp reset here. So we did some damage to some of the creeps. We're going to throw our hatchet here at 53 to stack the camp. And then we will go to camp the rune. Again, we will not be taking the runes for the sake of the jungle educational, so you guys can see how the rotation works without any rune impact. We will eat the tree here. And then we will immediately use our Illuminate to trigger the camp to aggro. We will hit, we will move, we will hit. We will always try to hit the big creeps as much as possible. Get that splash on everything. You can see when you have the triple camp how much lifesteal you get back. You get low for a short duration and then you heal most of it back up. So we have 4 seconds on the blight. We're going to be eating another blight when this one runs out. We keep kiting. We're going to hit our level up our Q here, level 4. So I didn't show you guys using the health potion on the hard camp. This time we did not have it. We hit the level 4. We are going to need to use our Q spell to prevent a little bit of damage here. Make sure to eat the blight, and we will continue to finish farming here. I make a slight mistake here by canceling my attack. Luckily it did not kill me. I had enough HP. So we get that cleave, and we have just finished our triple stacked hard camp here at 235. We immediately buy our marchers to send that over to ourselves. Now, something I want to point out here, what we are going to do is we are going to stack all 3 of these camps. So very similar to how we stacked all 3 on the Legion side. Worth pointing out here, the Wild Hunter, this is the hardest medium camp spawn, so we will not be able to finish killing this before moving over to stack the hard and the easy camp. So we will have to stack all 3 of these at the same time. So again, we will be working on this while we have some downtime. We're going to make sure to eat our blights. Always healing up with the blights. So we have the timer coming up here. We're going to stop hitting that. What we're going to do here is we're going to throw the hatchet at the hard camp, and we will immediately use our Illuminate to run down here, trigger the easy camp, and then to trigger the medium camp as well. So 53, throw the hatchet, use our Illuminate, trigger that camp. We get this one at the very last second there. This will just make it in time, and there you have it. We have the triple stack. So I'm going to make sure I don't die here. Just make sure I get some lifesteal. We're going to go over to the easy camp here. And this is where we're going to get our HP back. We're very low, but don't worry. As long as we're eating the blights, we are just fine. This camp cannot kill us. So we keep cleaving on everything. We hit level 5. We get that level 3 Solar Slash. And we will be just fine on HP. So our Illuminate comes back up. We will eat another tree. That is our last tree. And we will use our Illuminate immediately. And this hard camp, we will just make sure our splash hits everything. And this will give us enough HP to sustain ourselves. So we should be level 6 here, again, before 6 minutes. So once we kill this Vulture Lord, we are level 6 by 344. So again, an amazing rotation, even without having that extra hard camp stack. This was tripled on the Legion side. We were not able to do that. Now, because we don't have enough time to work on this camp here, we're going to stack this at 53, and then run down and stack this and go camp the rune at 4 minutes. So here we go. We stack both camps. We will now have a triple medium camp and a double stacked hard camp. We camp the rune, but we do not take it. And then we will work on the hard camp here. So again, we have our punch dagger sent out to us after taking that double stacked hard camp prior to this. Once we clean this camp up, we will go to the medium camp. And then once we finish the medium camp, we will sell our second buckler, and we will get that second punch dagger for our ghost marchers. So here I'm not hitting the Ebula with my splash. So not hitting every creep, but getting most of it here. Going to hit level 7 now at 436. We finished off the medium camp, and we don't have enough time to kill both these camps, so what we're going to do here is we're going to kill the easy camp. You saw me sell the buckler. We send out the punch dagger. We have our ghost marchers now, and we will kill off that camp, and now we will stack this hard camp here before 5 minutes. So we go ahead and we stack that camp. And now we will just do one more jungle rotation before the 6-minute mark hits. So we will start with this hard camp here, the double stack. We make sure our cleave hits more or less everything. So we're going to move into the camp there. Make sure our splashes clean up the camp. Should need one more splash. And 2 more attacks will clean that one up. We will be hitting, I believe, level 8 here after the easy camp. We start to send pieces to our chalice out. You could honestly wait until you have the whole chalice. It's not a big deal to send these or not. So the courier will go back. We will have enough gold for our scarab. We will now do the medium camp here. So we'll buy our scarab for our chalice. We want to send out a veiled rot and a teepee once again before the nighttime. So once we clean up these last 2 camps, we send the chalice, the veiled rot, and the teepee. So again here, I'm not sending out the teepee, but I could wait to clean this camp. And we're going to have just enough time here to kill this camp. So 5:49, we have finished our jungle rotation. We are almost 8.5. So again, this is the most optimal rotation here for the Hellbourne side. We no longer need our second buckler. We will have our chalice and our ghost marchers, and nighttime is going to come up very soon, and that's when we once again go to gank. So if at any point in this rotation you make an error in stacking, or you clean all of the camps and you have downtime without camping any runes, what you can do is you can go over to this ancient camp. You run over to here, and you can use your illuminate to aggro this ancient camp, and you can stack the ancients. It's not very important. This is only if we make perhaps some errors or if we run out of camps to farm, but we will not be taking ancients at any point in the early part of the game. We would wait till second daytime, which would be at 12 minutes, and that's when we would look to start farming ancients as a solstice. So that is going to be our Hellbourne rotation. So you guys have now seen the Legion and the Hellbourne's rotation. On Legion, we were 8 2/3, and on Hellbourne, we were about 8.5. And this is, again, the most optimal rotation to get you the highest level possible once you get to nighttime. So that will be the 2 jungle rotations. Now what I want to do is I want to show you guys the different item builds you can do on a solstice. So we will go ahead and go over to here to our solstice item builds. I'm going to be talking about 5 different item builds that I think are fairly good here on Solstice. Now the thing with Solstice is he is not your traditional style of jungler. He can be played so many different ways, and he can utilize many different item builds. It's more or less going to come down to what you're playing against. So you want to buy items to suit that specific game. So here we're going to show you guys the first item build, which I call this one our upkeeping farm and GPM build while ganking. So the thought behind this build is, so we have our ghost marchers and our chalice by 6 minutes by our nighttime. What we are going to do is we're going to build into alchemist bones, and what this allows us to do is, as the name of the build is called, it's our upkeep farm and GPM build. We're going to buy the alchemist bones so that while we are ganking during the nighttime, we can upkeep our farm and get that portal key as our next item. So we should be getting the portal key following the alchemist bones by around the 13-minute mark or so. So if we don't make bad rotations when we set up those ganks and we don't end up dying too many times, we will be able to pick up our alchemist bones and a PK by the 13-minute mark. This is a very, very good item build. We would then be building into items such as Hellflower and Shrunken Head, which will help enable us to scale into the game, go into those team fights with the Shrunken Head and the Hellflower to lock down our enemies. So this is our first item build. Now I'm going to switch up some items here. This build is what I like to call the frontline or team fighter solstice build. So what we would do here is, instead of the alchemist bones, we would build into a staff of the master. Now what you could do is, let's say you have a sandwraith short farming in your team, and you have this hero that you really want to staff. As a solstice, you can go for that staff and be more of this frontliner and supportive style of jungler. You can build into the portal key as a follow-up to the staff, or you could upgrade the legacy prior to the portal key if it's not too essential for that game, and you can staff your teammates. So this is more of a team-oriented build. Again, you would be very bulky with the Staff of the Master, giving you lots of stats. You are a strength hero, so you're going to have lots of HP. You're going to be able to frontline for your team, and all the while you're going to be boosting one of your allies for a great staff effect. So this is a very solid item build. Once again, we would go for items like Hellflower and Shrunken Head to follow up our portal key and our staff. Great supplement items there. So that's our second Solstice item build. Next is this one I like to call the aggressive ganker Solstice build. So instead of a Alchemist Bones or a Staff of the Master, we would build into an Insanitarius. Now, what's great about the Insanitarius is it gives us a big boost to our strength, which gives us a lot of damage. So when we're ganking at nighttime, buffing up our nighttime blinding rush spell, we're going to get lots of extra damage on top of our W spell at nighttime, giving us bonus attack damage as well. We are going to hit very, very hard, so we're going to be a very strong aggressive ganker with that Incenitarius, as well as we're going to pick up a portal key on top of that to help line up our ultimate as well as our dash. So we will go for items similar. Here we'll go for the PK, and then we can build into items like Shrunken Head, Hellflower, as well as even a Dawnbringer to help scale us with that Insanitarius and Hellflower. So this is a very strong, aggressive ganking build. So that is our third build here. We're going to once again change up a couple of items. Uh, so here, this is what I like to call the hard carry Solstice build. So we have either our Steam Boots or our Ghost Marchers. Again, for all of these builds, you can either go Steam Boots or Ghost Marchers. You do not have to go Ghost Marchers. Steam Boots are also very good. So it's more so preference on your playstyle. So here we have this Ghost Marchers, the Chalice. We're going to build into a Dawnbringer as our first item. We could just keep either the Frostburn or the Searing Light. We don't need to go into a full Dawnbringer, but we go into pieces of the Dawnbringer. Then we pick up the Shrunken Head so that we are able to combat our enemy team, and then we would go into items such as Gunjuro and Hellflower and finish our Dawnbringer at any point in time. And this is again a hard carry build, so we're going to right click very hard. We have lots of attack speed, lots of mobility, very, very strong for carrying. And this build, you would most likely only want to do this build when you don't have a proper carry in your team. So again, this is not a build for every single game, but it is a situational build if you do need to become more of a carry presence for your team. And then we have one more item build for you guys. We're going to swap out a couple of items here. Now this is what we like to call the man up build versus versus opponent lifesteal style carries. So let's say you're against a hero like Predator and you need to man fight him. You're going to want to go for items like the Brutalizer here, and the Elder Parasite give you lots of attack speed. You get that bash, so you're able to stop him from lifestealing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a Predator, but he's a great example there. And then you would similarly go for items like the Shrunken Head, the Dawnbringer, and the Hellflower as great follow-up items. You could even replace that Hellflower with something like a Gunjuro. Again, just very strong right-click style of presence builds against other life-stealing carries. So that is going to be our final build there. These are all builds that I would say are very solid there. And one trick I want to show you guys before we exit this practice mode game here with the item builds is I want to show you guys a little tactic we can do here. We'll go into some tips and tricks section of the video, and I will cover some more. Is what we can do here with the Gunjuro, a little nifty trick is we can cast our ultimate, and because it's a channeling spell, we can use the Gunjuro following that up for some stealth style of setup, so we can get ourselves into nifty positions with the Gunjuro. We can use our ultimate there, use the shroud. We can channel up that full duration ultimate, and then we can still be shrouded. We could go in for a slow hit and use our dash, whatever, to follow it up. Very nice combo there with the Gunjuro and the ultimate. So that is going to do it here for this item build section. So you guys have seen now of the Legion, the Hellbourne jungle rotation, as well as some of the Solstice item builds. I'll also explain to you guys, actually, before we get into some tips and tricks, some item builds, the late game item build choices here. I'm not going to go over all of these on the guide, but I will go over some of them. And I did not talk about Thunderclaw in this build. I actually don't think Thunderclaw is as good anymore as it used to be. So this is slightly outdated, but I would not suggest really going for a Thunderclaw. I don't think you really need Thunderclaw or Hyper Crown on the Solstice, as other items are a little bit better right now. So I talked a lot about Hellflower, and when you would want to go for an item like Hellflower in the late game is when you want to disable your enemy, stop them from using their escapes or getting off their shrunken head so that you're able to sit on them and bring them down. Very, very strong item on Solstice. It gives lots of attack speed, extra damage, as well as stopping their escapes and shrunkens. So very, very strong pickup there. Items like Demonic Breastplate. This item is very good if you're against high physical damage style opponents, and this will give you lots of extra armor to combat them, as well as lots of attack speed, similar to that Hellflower. And this one is a team aura, so very, very strong, very, very good late game item for not only yourself but also for your team. Dawnbringer, I talked about it in a couple of the builds. This item is fantastic currently in the meta. It is very expensive, but it gives you a strong carry presence and it allows you to chase down your enemies with that slow, with that extra movement speed from the firebrand portion of the item. Very, very good item on a hero like Solstice. And then Gunjuro as well. I showed you guys the tactic there with the ultimate and the invis. This allows you for stealth style of ganks and ultimates, and also gives you a slow similar to the Dawnbringer there for chasing down enemies. So very, very good late game item on a Solstice. Now I just want to go over again some of the tips and tricks of the hero so you guys can always keep them in mind. So when we are farming those hard camps at daytime, we always want to make sure that our E, our crit, or the lifesteal portion impacts all of the camp or as many units as possible. That will yield you the highest amount of lifesteal to regain your health back. So in this video, I showed you guys the most efficient stacking methods as well as how to clear those camps properly. A big one that I notice a lot of Solstice players do here, and I want to go over this one, is when you use your ultimate, please, please, please do not channel it for the full 3 seconds if it is going to miss. Or if at nighttime the fear, if you release it early, if that fear will actually save your teammate. A lot of the times I see Solstice players, they channel their ultimate for the full duration and it either A, it misses completely, so releasing it early would impact the enemy, or your teammate is very low on life, they're about to die, and that fear would just save their life by either stopping their auto attacks or stopping spells from coming off in time. Please release the ultimate early. You do not need to channel it the full 3 seconds all of the time. If your team is doing an excellent bait and they're not dying and the enemies line up, by all means channel it for that full duration, but you do not always need to channel it the full 3 seconds. This is very, very important. Another tip here is when we're in nighttime mode, we can use our W spell before we jump in with our Q spell, and this is going to give us bonus attack damage and movement speed. So most importantly here, the bonus attack damage when we go in with our blinding dash spell. That's going to amplify our damage output significantly. So always after we channel up our ultimate, let's say we're starting with that, we want to use our W first before going in with that Q spell for extra damage. We talked about it in the strengths of the hero, but again, I want to go over the daytime shining rays here. Very, very strong for disabling portal keys in the mid game against our opponent. So we blink on top of them with our portal key. We immediately we use our W even before we go in. That will stop them from getting their escapes with their portal keys. Very, very nifty trick there from the Solstice. You have 8 seconds of that 60 damage per second dot. So very, very strong for disabling portal keys. And again, I want to talk to you guys about the Staff of the Master. I did talk about it in one of the item uh, builds there, but Staff is very, very good on Solstice. I would honestly consider it a core item at some point in many of your builds. And having that crit on the second hit instead of the third is a big, big difference. You're going to significantly increase your damage output, significantly increase your sustainability with having that life steal every 2 hits instead of every 3, on top of becoming very tanky with just the components of the item, and being able to switch between day and night at will. So you can use, let's say you want to always be using the nighttime ultimate because the fear is a lot stronger than the slow, or if you want to be jumping in with your portal key and using your daytime Q spell because it has a stun versus a slow, or if you want that extra damage from your nighttime W, or maybe you want that dot damage from your W to stop them from portal king. There's so many combinations you can use by having the staff to allow you to use the proper day or night modes depending on the situation. So Staff of the Master is very, very strong. And also one more thing is that while you are channeling your ultimate with Staff of the Master, you can use your E to swap between day and night, so you can actually change which ultimate you're using mid-cast. Now you cannot do this with your Q spell and your W spell because they are two different spells entirely at day and night mode, but the ultimate is a channel and you can swap that one uh, between day and night mode if you have that staff. So that is a very nifty trick there that you can do with the Staff of the Master, is changing which ultimate you are using mid-cast. So that is all I have for you guys as far as tips and tricks goes. So if you enjoyed this educational, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I will be doing a part 2 follow-up video where I analyze a replay or two explaining my decisions that I made throughout the match. Again, I want to thank Marloni for helping me here with the Solstice Educational, uh, doing a lot of work in the practice mode with myself, and we wanted to find you guys the best and most optimal jungle rotation here for Solstice in both Legion and Hellbourne, so I think we were able to do that. So again, below the video, we're going to link his YouTube. Make sure you go over there and send him a subscribe. Very good player. And thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we will see you all in the next one.